Hello everybody, we are going to now quickly create a platform game, and I'm just going to run you through the script needed to make your sprite move. Always start by naming your game. We're going to use the Scratch Cat today, but remember you can always create your own sprites, which is a lot of fun too. Now we're going to go to the backdrop and we are going to quickly create a platform. Now in the level you create, you need to really take care of the color choices you make, because they are going to be what are the conditions of the code you write later on. So I've got one color, which is the platform the sprite will walk along. I've got another color here, which is going to be the, I guess, ladder is the best description for it. And then I've got another color at the end, which is the place I'm trying to get to. And just to make it look right, I have used the paint bucket and colored in the background. Okay, now on to the coding of the sprite. Move the sprite to the position where he needs to begin. We use an event when clicked, and you see there's the coordinates X, Y, where he should be under motion. Place in a forever loop. And because I've got my 4 arrow keys I'm going to be using, I need 4 if-then loops from the control section. Now this part here is a bit like an assembly line. We can just drag and drop in the 4 separate bits of code. So I've got 2 key pressed, one will be right and one will be left. Now what I want my sprite to do is point in the direction that my arrow key is going. So if I want it to go right, it's going to go 90 degrees or right, and left will go 90 degrees minus. Okay, now I need to add the move block in, which will tell your sprite how far it's going to move. And if we look down here, there's also the next costume. So what it's going to do is every time you press the arrow key, it will point in a direction and it will move that far, and it will change costume to make it look like it's moving. Now if we look at it now, we can see that the sprite is going upside down, and that's easy to correct. If we just go back to the motion, and down the bottom there we can set the rotation left and right. Now we've got 3 choices for our rotation. As you can see in there, there is left, right, don't rotate, which we've got going on here, and that just makes our sprite walk forwards and backwards without turning whatsoever. And we've also got all around. Now that will make it rotate around the center point of the sprite, which will make our sprite go upside down, which is not the look we're going for. So just select rotate left, right. Okay, now I'm wanting my sprite to be able to move up and down on these ladders or poles which I've selected. Now to do that, I want to set another condition. So instead of just if key pressed, I'm going to add an AND block from the operations. Okay, and sensors. I'm going to add a color. So if touching color, just to make sure they nest in there. They can be a bit tricky sometimes. If touching a color, and if a key is pressed. Now that means that it won't be able to move up or down unless both of those conditions are met. So to change the color, I can just select by tapping the color and moving over the color I want. And then I change that to the up arrow, and I'll also add in the down arrow. Now we've chosen the key will press and the color, which the other condition is, we need to add in the rest of the code, and just like our right and left key, we're going to use those same 3 blocks. Point in direction, move 10, and next costume. But we just need to make sure that when we're doing this, we will change the conditions of the code. Okay, so the last thing we need to make sure is the point in direction. Right was going 90, left was going minus 90, so I need to go up and down. Up is 0, and then down is 180, so that gives you the full 360 degrees there. And if you see, we're testing the code and it's working. Now that our sprite's moving, we need to get our sprite to do something when it reaches the different coloured block at the end. Now we have a whole lot of different options of what we could get our sprite to do when it reaches the end. Today we're just going to simply reset it to go back to the start. But this is where we could have our sprite move on to level number 2. We could have this is where the sprite is awarded points. This could be the boss at the end of the game. Now that we've got our directional arrows coded, it's time for us to test and see what happens. So click to full screen. I've got left, I've got right. I can travel up. I can travel back across. I can go up again, and if I come all the way through to the red, I will teleport back to the start. But if we look here, I go up and I go across. Uh-oh, I don't fall. So that's something I need to do now, which is create some gravity. Okay, so you go to the data and click make a variable. This variable I'm going to name gravity. Click OK, and then it's given me a new set of blocks to use. Now I'm going to create a new event. So when the flag is clicked at the start of each game, we're going to set the gravity to -6. I've chosen minus because I want it to go down rather than up. And now all we need to do is create one more if-then loop within the main Scratch cat code. Now we're going to put a few different operators in here. We want a not, and then we want an or. So we want to say, if not this or this, then do this. And we're going to choose the two colors. One color is for our platform, and one color is for our ladder. So now we're saying, if not touching this color or touching this color, do this. Okay, and then now we just go up to our motion block and choose change Y. Now remember, we've got our backdrop is a large grid, X and Y, positive and negative, so the Y is the up and down. And what we want to do is that we want to change Y by gravity. And now that we've changed the script, we need to test to check that it's working, that all the rest of the code is working. Left down, up right, and my gravity is perfect. If I want to change that, I can just change the gravity to a higher or lower number, which will make it fall faster or slower. Thank you for listening. I hope it was helpful, and enjoy the rest of your day.